Anaba Wines is the culmination of a 40-year dream. We didn't begin this with a guy who had enough money just to start a winery. What we had was a poor guy 35 years ago who also wanted to start a winery, and his wife told him, maybe we should wait. And so we waited, and so 25 years later, the dream came true. There were a group of us in the 1970s who just fell in love with the French wine and food culture. We would study winemaking, we made wine at home, but eventually I started to take all my vacations in France. And so during my travels in France and meeting all these vintners, I just found that the ones who were in the sort of the old rustic barns and had been there for 3 generations, they're just so charming and so inspiring. What I wanted to do was to make Pinot Noir and wines that would be typical of the Rhone Valley and Chardonnay, but also I want to make them somewhat affordable. It's interesting because in the Rhone Valley, Le Mistral is the big wind that comes through in the wintertime, and sometimes in the summer, and it cools the grapes, and they all know it's a big deal. So we found a term that related to a wind pattern that's very common to the Sonoma Mountain and the Petaluma Gap where we are, called anabatic winds. And so that's how we came up with it. We said, okay, anabatic winds, Anaba. And here we are with wind being our theme.
We specialize in Burgundian and Rhone varietals, but obviously in the style grown in California. Sonoma County is a massive appellation, and working with both Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, which tend to thrive in a cooler, more maritime environment, and then working with the Rhone varietals, which tend to thrive in warmer regions. We get to source grapes from all over Sonoma County. Really, our winemaking is accomplished in the vineyard. The vintage is decided when the fruit is picked. That's sort of my take on things, and it's really our job as vintners to not screw things up. Get it into bottle, allow it to speak for the vintage and the vineyard site. Our winery, I love it because it's all business. This is, where we create really great wine. I love that I work for a small family-owned company, so not only have I been able to choose planting material for a vineyard, but see those vines come into production, make the wine, get them into bottle, have an influence on how the label looks, and then to some degree help sell the wine as well. So it's just, from a grape to bottle and beyond, and how fantastic is that?
The 100-year-old farmhouse that's on our property just looked like it could be turned into a great tasting room. And it turned out once we built the deck, and it turned out the views were fantastic, and we re-landscaped the whole place. And we got this cute little tasting bar, and we have vineyard walks out in the vineyards, private tastings in our salon. Usually we have events out on our deck because it has such beautiful views of the Sonoma Mountain. The focus is on wine. What we do in the tasting room, we're focused mostly on just sharing our wine experiences with the customers that come in.